So what is going on, The Last of Us fans? It's your boy Amaziah here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a little bit of an update on the Factions MP talk that we talked about the last time in my last video, in which I talked about the statement that was given and how everyone was interpreting it to mean that, of course, The Last of Us Factions MP simply wasn't happening at all, when in actuality what they were saying was that it wasn't going to be coming with launch. And we now have Bruce Straley, who was once a director at Naughty Dog. I think he was a co-director with Neil Druckmann on the first game, or he was involved with the multiplayer for the first game. So let's go ahead and talk about exactly what he had to say. I'm going to start things off by reading his thread of tweets in which he talks about The Last of Us Factions MP and the worry that everyone has, because he made a joke with Neil Druckmann about not coming back to finish the Factions MP for them. So that's what leads me to believe that he actually was the director of the multiplayer. Now, I don't know too much about Bruce Straley. Yes, I am one of those fucking casuals that don't actually look into the developers of the game or start to follow the developers. Now, I do follow Neil Druckmann interestingly enough. But of course, he's the face of The Last of Us. But now Bruce Straley has also given his input and talked about a little bit about, I guess, how things were operating before he left, if he left during the time that The Last of Us Part 2 started development rather than prior. So let's go ahead and get right into what he had to say. He says, okay, I gotta clear some stuff up. Please read the whole thread. Most of you get my humor, and the responses to my earlier tweet have cracked me up. But for some of you, I get that I poked at a sensitive nerve with The Last of Us Part 2's MP. Let me assure you, I know the team very well and trust them thoroughly. I also know what they're working on, and I can attest that SP and MP are both extremely ambitious. I can only joke because I'm friends with these people and I have absolute faith in what they're doing. I guarantee you're gonna be stoked to get your hands on both modes, but you gotta let them do their thing. Have faith, you're in good hands. All we ever strive to do at ND was all we ever strived to do at ND was deliver the best experiences we possibly could. This sometimes meant moving around staff in order to deliver on our own promises. And if that means MP is delayed for a bit this time around, well, I can guarantee it's for good reasons. Lastly, I really appreciate the passion MP fans have for the mode. We worked super hard to make it something special, and as much as my tweet may have stung, I want to say thanks for digging the game so much. I too had the most epic MP matches playing factions, so I get it. So there you have it. He does state that apparently he still has a little bit of in the know about what's going on at Naughty Dog. Of course, certain things, they can tell certain things to like certain people because, of course, he used to be a director and he's not flat out confirming anything, so it's not like he's under any contractual obligations that he'll get in trouble for saying, oh, it does exist. I mean, we know that it exists. That's the problem I have with the people that were saying that it wasn't going to happen or it's been canceled. And definitely the people that are, I guess, excited that it got canceled because somehow it's going to make the story mode better, when of course the story of the first game was already like top tier of fucking stories in video games, period, and it still had the dope ass Factions MP to go along with it. But of course we have here where he states that SP and MP, I can't remember what SP was, but MP is obviously Factions MP. And he says that they're extremely ambitious. And this is exactly what I was trying to say in my other video, because that's what the quote was saying, or that's what the statement was saying, that the ambition for the MP went beyond just taking elements from the story mode and then rebalancing them perfectly and then putting that into a multiplayer. Well, the balance in Factions MP isn't too perfect, but it's almost there. I mean, there's only a couple of weapons, a couple of setups that I've seen to where it kind of feels like you're playing against some fucking ridiculous ass force and shit. But other than that, it is pretty well balanced. And when it comes to what Bruce has to say here, it's exactly in line with what I interpreted from the statement that we got when they announced that Factions MP wouldn't be day one. So, from what he's saying here, it seems like what actually potentially wound up happening with Factions MP is that the ambition of the story mode, which is definitely what's going to go first, because when the game is reviewed, it's going to be reviewed based off his story. When the game is remembered, it's going to be remembered based off of his story. Yes, you may have your own little internal moments with factions in P, too, but when it comes to what everyone's going to enjoy, it's the story mode. And what he's saying here is that at Naughty Dog, what they do sometimes is with the ambition of the story, and they're saying they already said that it's the like most ambitious game basically that they've ever done. I think they said the same thing for Uncharted too, but it's the most ambitious game they've ever done. And with that being said, with it being the most ambitious game, they had to potentially take the multiplayer team and say, hey, I know you guys want to really make factions in P2, but we need you guys to come over and work on this stuff. And you have to think about it. I mean, with the way factions wound up working out, if they're talking to like the same people or they're using the same people, you know, they truly did come up with an amazing fucking system for The Last of Us 1's factions in P. And being able to bring some of those elements into the actual story would actually be pretty cool, because, you know, even though there was a lot of stuff that you could craft in the story mode, or basically you craft all of the same things, like, you know, certain elements definitely worked well in Factions MP, and you can tell that they're now trying to add those elements to the main game. One of the things that we got to see from the press demo footage was that, like, there's a lot of things that go into like upgrading not just weapons, but also of course the things that you can do with like even the different, I guess you can say, ammo types. If you remember, arrows were always just basic arrows in The Last of Us Part 1. From what we've already seen from The Last of Us Part 2, now there's like bomb arrows. Apparently Ellie may be able to make like fire arrows, and who knows how far that's actually going to go for any other type of weapons as well. So who knows, man. But thank you guys for tuning into this video. That's what Bruce Straley had to say. I'll put a link to the thread just in case you may for some reason believe I faked this. But also, I hope you guys enjoy your day. This is me, your boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class gaming and everything you do. Don't forget to keep it A-class. Keep it tuned in right here for more The Last of Us information as I start to cover the story stuff sometime this week. And that's all I gotta say. Peace the heck out.
All this money I be staring at, you already know that. All this money I be staring at.